While Paul's letters are typically addressed to a particular community he is working with, Paul's letter to the Ephesians is directed not so much to a single community in Ephesus, but really to the worldwide church. And he emphasizes throughout the letter the purpose of the church is to make God's plan of salvation known throughout the universe. Paul was nothing less than a passionate evangelist, and he had big goals. And the early church in general, not only in Paul's letters, but also in the Acts of the Apostles, shows this sense of urgency to evangelize and bring to fruition Christ's mission. The letter to the Ephesians is one of Paul's letters written from prison. Now, one might imagine with this sense of urgency to spread Christ's message that Paul's multiple imprisonments would have felt like a frustrating standstill in his ministry. And yet there is always a sense of profound hope in his letters. And in a letter focused on the world mission of the church, there's a paradoxical focus on the individual and particular love God has for each person. He is not writing to the community with marketing plans or quotas they need to make before he returns. Instead, Paul's urging each person to ground themselves in God's love, which Paul was clearly doing in prison in order to sustain himself. And it is his prayer for the community that today's passage from Ephesians comes from. I find it so beautiful, it is worth repeating. And so hear these words as a member of the Universal Church today. May God grant you in accord with the riches of his glory to be strengthened with power through his Spirit in the inner self. And may Christ dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend with all the holy ones what is the breadth and length and height and depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, so that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. The particular impacts the universal. Love begets love. As you listen to this prayer, as you receive this blessing yourself, consider whether you truly believe in the power of love. Paul certainly did. And it is a power that is so different than the superficial ways power is granted in our society today, in the external things like privilege, money, or influence, as in the number of followers on social media. Instead, Paul argues power comes from within, from the sense of being undeniably loved. Paul clearly wants the message of Jesus Christ to spread throughout the world. But as he writes from prison, helpless in being able to do anything, he's not worried about what the community is necessarily doing either. He knows that prayer and encouragement and unconditional love is what makes the difference. Love inspires. Love transforms. Love wins. As you tuck your kids into bed tonight, or as you kiss your spouse before going to sleep, or when you gather your team together at work today, remember that it is not what we do, what quotas we make, but that we are loved that makes a difference. And so share that with the people around you. And may we as a church take that to heart. May love be our mission.